exception, blacklisted podcast.
Why? Where does discipline come from? What you need is self-discipline. It is because you haven't decided to be disciplined yet. It's because you haven't created it yet. You haven't become it yet. So where does it come from? It comes from you.
Do you have to create discipline?
I'm not very good at art, if I'm being honest with you.
Isn't there a theory that everything just exists and you kind of pull it out of the air? So
Yeah.
Doesn't discipline already exist?
Suppose.
So you don't have to create it. You just have to find it.
Yes. Maybe it's created chemically.
Castration.
Oh.
What?
It's quite the segue into good morning, Tristan. Are you on headphones or no? I don't remember.
No, you can put them on.
Are you on headphones or no?
It doesn't matter.
Your decision, you're the guest.
Nah.
Alright.
It's weird listening to myself.
Yeah. What's going on, guys? This is episode 3 of season 2, I think. So we're here with Tristan. Tristan recently kind of came into our community. Was it August? You came to the camp in August, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then started kind of you're following the method now, right?
I am. I'm doing the one-on-one with Griffin as well too.
Yep. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Aside from being remarkably attractive.
I'm currently trying to compete in CrossFit. Back in high school, I played football, so did all the high school sports, and then didn't go to college to play because I tore my ACL. Decided to not have the surgery, and that's when I really got serious in CrossFit.
Yeah. So you tore your ACL in
3 times.
Oh, what?
3 times.
How many times?
Same one?
Yes. The same
Have you gotten surgery on any of them?
I tore it my freshman year, got surgery that year. I want to say my sophomore year, I cut my other knee open with a chainsaw. I had like 30 stitches. And then retore my ACL my junior year, did the whole 9-month rehab again. And I want to say I got released back to play football within a week, tore it again.
Oh,
for the 3rd time, so then just played where I could my senior year in a brace.
Oh, okay.
And decided to not have the surgery, not go to college to play.
Yeah.
And that's when I found CrossFit.
Sweet.
So how did you tear it specifically? Were you tackled? Were you making a
Making
cut?
a cut.
That makes
I want to
sense.
say just about every time.
Did your doctors ever tell you something about your Q angle growing
I
up?
think so.
Okay, just curious, because usually a more severe Q angle will...
What is that again?
The Q angle is the angle from like femur, knee, and shin, like how your hips are associated.
Oh, and then how much the knee bends
Yep.
relative to
How
the
valgus.
foot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like women have more valgus knees than men because of how their hips are, and they're birth giving hips and whatnot. That's why there's more ACL tears in women's basketball and
Isn't that a theory?
tennis. I'm sorry.
Isn't that a theory?
For sure, it's back at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't ligaments and tendons get weaker during menstrual cycles as well?
That's on you to tell everyone. I don't know.
Okay, that one's the theory. The other one, that's scientific fact.
So your ACL is currently torn.
Yes.
Huh.
It's been
And you're
torn
still-
since 2020.
Been torn since 2020.
Yeah, that was my last year of football.
So what
Actually, 2021.
I'm hearing is you ain't no punk ass bitch.
No.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean,
It
fucking
does-
cuts me open with the chainsaw.
It's made me have to rehab like a couple of times. Like first time, didn't think about it. My very first CrossFit competition I did, I went to do a split jerk and split with my right leg out in front, and it buckled,
Sure.
and then couldn't move it. Had to take like 2 or 3 months to finally get it back to normal. But now to counter that, I just split with my left leg out in front instead of my right. And I still consciously think about it on like rebounding
Sure.
and like shuttle runs. I hate shuttle runs, just to stop and turn.
Sure, man.
So yeah.
It's so interesting. It's like, I've yet to honestly meet someone who's training as hard as you do, let alone like just working out, period, with a torn ACL.
Yeah.
It's almost like, when I partially tore my MCL, Emma said to me, technically you don't really need it to move, and also you're a baby. She didn't say that. That's me paraphrasing.
Of the own thoughts that were happening in my head.
Like, well, damn. So, like, how do you do that every day? Like, I'm sure people want to know who haven't experienced that, because torn ACLs seem pretty severe.
Yeah, there's days where it does hurt. I mean, where I just suck it up and just do it anyways. Sometimes I try to take a little longer to warm up. Some days it's like nothing's wrong with it. And like I said, it's really just lateral movements. Stop playing, rebounding, box.
So like the shuttle run stuff we did on Saturday this past week was right up your alley.
Yeah. I mean, especially with tired legs. I'm like constantly, that's what's in my brain. It's just to stop and turn around. That's why if I tried to, I just try to use my other leg when I stop. That's why shuttle runs, I don't like those at all just because of that.
Sure.
So
I mean, there's no risk of tearing it again.
Yeah. The only thing is when it buckles. Like I mentioned, the first competition I did when I split jerked, it buckled. The only other time it's happened, I came down and landed on the end of a rope, like on the side of my foot, and it just takes 2 months.
Scott Shechek did that 2 years ago too.
That makes was it 3 front squats and 2. Shit, what was the complex at camp in August?
3 front squats, 2 hang squat cleans, and 1 jerk, right? Or two cleans and 1.
Jesus, so you hit 300 or 295 on that?
I'm not sure.
I think it was 295.
I think it was 295. I think Pat went for 300, and I was like, I'll go 305 just to beat him.
Dude, that makes that complex much more impressive. And that makes your performances that weekend much more impressive, if I'm being real. Like, I genuinely did not know until like today. It's been torn since 2020. Jesus. Like, you have to have so much control over like valgus knees in the squat in order for that not to buckle under heavy load. And you weigh like what, 105?
Yeah.
No offense.
I'm like a solid 185, I think, the other day.
And you're built more like you got that prison body a little bit more solid up
what
top.
What does that mean?
It's a Kevin Hart reference. You're solid up top. Stacked.
Big top, little legs.
Little tiny legs, toothpick legs, so they wobble. They're like weeble wobbles. Actually, I guess weeble wobbles don't fall down. They would fall down, but rest in peace, Uncle Richard Jr. I wish people could see, honestly, like you in person, how you move with the information just provided. That's nuts to me.
Yeah.
Am I reacting inappropriately here? Like, this is baffling to me. I've never met some. I don't know.
I think so. Like, I think Panchek tore his ACL when he was on the ropes, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I think some of it might come down to like what level grade it is, and then like if there's scar tissue.
Is it a complete tear?
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah,
I want to say there was something else they said they had to take out. I don't think I have any cartilage either left from the 2 surgeries.
So eventually you're going to have to get like a prosthetic leg.
No.
They're going to have to amputate you from the knee up.
No.
That's a joke. I want to clarify that's a joke.
But he told me, he said the cartilage thing, he was like, the ACL, when I went for the 3rd time, but it was the same doctor every time. He was like, I believe the past 2 times I did everything right on my end. Some people, that's how it is.
When you said you've been doing it right, talk about that for a second. Like, what have you been doing right to where you train at a high level, man? Like, you're no fucking slouch in this community. Agree or disagree?
Oh, yeah. Tristan's one of the up-and-coming like athletes in the sport for sure.
Like, you're 100%. So, like, I would argue, and maybe this is me calling shots too early, that you'll qualify for semifinals this year. It's going to be probably tight, yeah? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't really know the whole data.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, going back to the other podcast we were talking about, and, like, we kind of mentioned that Tristan was going to be on the team this year.
Yeah. So I guess quarterfinals on a team, most likely for sure.
Yeah.
More than likely semifinals on the team. But I do think given the right subset of workouts, Tristan would qualify.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's just a couple holes right now that he needs to fill before he's like at the top.
Gotcha.
Why do you just look like that?
I'm a child.
Look like a couple holes.
So
I feel like with the right workouts, but like you
so
said.
what do you do right to be able to train at a semifinals level? Like, there are going to be a lot of people out there not knowing how to do that. They're going to, I'll just speak for the masses, myself included. Like, as a former swimmer, we didn't do leg day very much. If I tore my ACL, I'm going to be a little bitch. So what's the right stuff that Tristan has done?
I don't know. I do try to warm up better now. I used to not really warm up at all.
What do you do in warm-ups? What do you do in warm-ups specifically that is the right thing, quote unquote, for you? That the doctors have said. You just said the doctors essentially said you do the right thing.
Yeah, I do like the banded hip walks, step ups, just a whole lot of knee general warm-up stuff.
Yeah.
Some days it's more than others. Sometimes, like I said, it feels like normal. Some days it aches. Did a wall ball workout the other day where my knee popped on every single wall ball. So it's just dependent what I did, I guess, days prior or however much I used it the past week or whatnot.
So
it's a lot of glute work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, that's like we did that long run, the hour-long run session on, I think it was Tuesday.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it was not fun after that long run. It hurt pretty bad, but
well, that's fair. I mean, a lot of bounding is going to, with no cartilage, nothing to really help a whole lot there. So walk everyone through specifically a good day warm-up when your knee feels good, a midday warm-up when it's like, oh, the weather might change, and then a shit day warm-up where the barometric pressure just completely dropped, it started raining. And people who can say good knee, bad knee know what I mean. Old folks can.
So, good day warm-up, it's not hurting at all, just feels like normal. I normally go sit on a bike, do some air squats or a squat hold.
So what specifically, like how long on the bike, how long the squat hold, how many squats?
Probably like 2 to 3 minutes on the bike, like 2 or 3 rounds, so like 10 air squats, 5 step-ups.
Are you thinking about anything specifically while on any of those, like posterior is firing more than anterior, pushing my knees out a little bit more, being conscious a little bit more? What do you have to be conscious of on a good day?
On a good day,
for those movements,
automatically when I go down into a squat, I shift to my left. So I shift. I think I mentioned to Kyle about it at the camp.
Yes,
but I automatically am shifted to the left side. If I don't feel like I do it as much when I have weight or when I'm in a workout, but just body weight squats or holding a squat at the bottom, automatically it just goes to the left.
That is interesting. So is that like a compensating skill you developed over the years, or is that something you consciously are aware of? This helps me get warmed up better. I mean, at 22 years old, how many did you turn 23?
This September, I'll be 23.
That boy. What day?
10th.
Yeah, that was good. Because my birthday's in September too.
Were you hoping it was on the 11th?
Oh my. Can we edit that part out? Fuck, man. Jesus Christ. Shit. Damn. That stopped me.
Did you lose your train of thought?
No, that just stopped me. Okay, so what did you find? Did you find that the hip swivel to the shifting to the left, it's forced to organically occur, or you are consciously aware of it to either compensate, it's now a compensation skill, or it does get your body more warmed up? For Tristan specifically.
When I go to the left, normally when I warm up, I try to just make it be as even as I can.
Okay.
Why do you think that it doesn't do it when you have weight?
I don't know. I don't know if it just evens it out, or I'm not sure. But I have like videos. Sometimes I can notice, like especially in a snatch, when I'm in the deep squat, it'll be a little to the left, but it's never like a major thing. I can't ever tell in video.
Maybe complete out left field possibility. The torn ACL has forced your femur to shift, and like maybe that's pushing a certain way, forcing the swivel. I don't know. It could be muscular.
In an air, but like, why is it happening in an air squat versus?
Maybe gravity is not pushing enough on his body to combat it, whereas with weight, gravity plus additional external load on his back is allowing his femur to shift appropriately over the knee. I don't know. I could be way the fuck off, and I hope that I am way the fuck off, and people can correct me when I'm with this. Hopefully they can envision. It's your right knee?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, hopefully they can envision the movement of the squat mechanic with what we've described.
Yeah.
To see why.
I feel like my initial thought on that is that there's something upstream from the hip, like your serratus or your teres minor or something in the upper back that's allowing to take some of that load off of the knee.
Possibly. I mean, look, the dude's built like a Ninja Turtle on his back. I don't know if you saw it the other day, but your trap is the biggest trap in boulder shoulders I've ever seen.
Like, why would you want to have a turtle shell?
No, if you take the Ninja Turtles are jacked, bro. And like their shells are essentially just backpacks anyway. You've never seen the Ninja Turtles without their shell on?
Do you take that as an insult?
No.
That's a compliment, dog.
No.
I would take that as an insult. I'm
not surprised by that in the least. What would be a compliment to you?
Different flavors of autism.
A-U-T. This podcast brought to you by. So like maybe, I don't know, maybe like Lauren with her repair, perform, recover, Pete with hybrid sport and spine. Hybrid spine and sport. God damn it, twice. Pete with hybrid sport and spine. I did it backwards again, didn't I? Fuck.
We're getting off track real fast.
No, I'm saying like maybe individuals like that could help us identify more.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I don't disagree. However, like when I saw you without your shirt off for the first time, because beautiful, like you were very symmetrical. Like honestly,
yeah.
There was not visible.
Yeah,
Usually, people with their shirts off, you can see visible discrepancies.
Well, especially in CrossFit too, because it's such a sagittal plane movement. And honestly, maybe like there's a probability that you will develop that over time.
Yeah.
But like playing football, like there's a lot of lateral and rotational movement, so you probably have a lot of carryover from that going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe with the weight stuff, like maybe it is a rotational component to it that it just you need to be loaded, like getting hit and stuff like that. Maybe you just need to be loaded for your like brain to fire like the rotational component of things.
When you would do, you did
or anti-rotation.
You never did track, right? You just did football.
Yes, just in high school, yeah.
So when you were fullback and running back.
Yes, till I tore my senior year, then I got just wherever I could play.
Sure.
Kicker.
I don't think I ever did
with
kicker.
your right leg.
I do sometimes go and try to kick a football. But
so what direction or what plays do you usually get a better? I mean, you have to take into consideration your blocking and the skill set of the opposition, but which cuts were you better at? Which direction did you have a higher skill set when making a cut, or even like just hauling ass downfield, the right side or left side of the field, or cutting to the left versus cutting to the right?
I want to say the right before my knee.
So you would be driving off of your left leg.
My right leg.
So you'd be cutting to the left.
Yeah, cutting to the left.
And so plays to which side of the field?
The right.
Okay, that makes sense. So I would argue that may play a role. If there may be some discrepancy there, if he was better at cutting to the left, driving on his right leg, your body's going to naturally shift open unless you are aware of keeping your body square and closed. However, I also am not fully. I'm just speculating, right? Because I've never played. I was never a lineman. Go figure. I mean, there's a 300-pound man. You'd think I would be I was never a fullback. Sorry. You think, but being a 300-pound man running a 5'6" 40, that I could be a running back or a fullback, but I guess I'm not good enough. It's a joke, by the way.
Thanks, Dad.
So you have your air squats. You naturally shift to the left. You're hyper aware of that.
Yeah.
You try to combat it when you do your air squats and warm up on a good day?
Yeah.
Okay. What sequence allows you... Okay, you've done 2 minutes, 3 minutes on the bike. You hop on the floor. You're doing... How many air squats you say?
Like 10, 15.
10 to 15 air squats. Do you progressively move faster throughout each... Like, as the reps get closer to 15? Or, like, do you start out slow and identify what's wrong, if there is anything wrong, etc., or go from there?
Normally, it's just a warm-up, slow. Maybe on some, I'll pause at the bottom for a little bit.
Why do you pause?
To make
to
sure
combat that swivel?
Yeah.
All right.
To even out
Sure.
at the bottom of the squat. And then after that, I try to do a couple step-ups, 10 to 15 each leg.
What are you thinking about with step-ups, with 10 to 15 each leg? Like, how does that progress compared to the squats?
The step-ups is really, since my surgery or the tear, they're always been harder on my bad leg.
Sure,
And I
that
know
makes sense.
That's one of the things, any workout with step-ups, holding something, like dumbbell step-ups, I absolutely hate.
Well, that makes sense.
I never, hardly ever come down on my bad leg.
That's smart.
Yeah. So it's just weird, dude.
So what do you think of throughout on your right leg, even on a good day? Because right now we're speaking on a good day. Because you still have a degree of caution.
Yeah.
What are you trying to be aware of to make sure you're getting warmed up? Now that we moved on from squats to lunges or step ups, you're still getting your body warmed up. How are you making sure your knee stays protected, aside from like stepping down, not stepping down on your bad leg, when you're stepping up? What's going through your mind when you're moving at the slowest on a good day?
I try to just make sure, like, just feel the activation and the whole thing.
Perfect.
All the way up, slow
Awesome.
on the way down. Just
Where's the activation that you feel?
my quad, my butt. I try to get everything I possibly can.
Perfect. That's really well said. Why, Kyle?
Why are you trying to stabilize the knee?
Yeah. No, like, so why? So he's 22 years old. There are very few 22-year-olds. I'll just say young person, because you're a decade younger than us. You young person. Why is it so important for a young person to have awareness of firing when having an injury? Well, I'll call it an injury. It is, but really it's just life at this point for you.
It's normal.
It's normal. Why is it important for a young homie to develop hyper awareness for shit like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's longevity in the sport, but I mean, I think for most people, it's going to take an injury or a catastrophic injury for you to actually pay attention to that.
Yeah,
It's
dead on.
I know. With the recovery, it was 9 months. I remember when
It's a full-term pregnancy.
Yeah, but I remember like we had to. It was like in bed for like a month and a half. You had to be in a brace with your legs straight and you couldn't move it. And then after that, it was like you had to learn like how to move your knee. Like I went to therapy to learn how to extend my knee, how to walk on my knee.
Okay, that's badass. Honestly, I didn't know like the full process of rehab with ACL tears. Like that makes complete sense. So you have to be aware of every single junction and what's firing to, and you have to literally be, or I guess metaphorically, be present within your muscle cell and see the firing that's happening and the connectivity and the acetylcholine to it. No, it's just kidding. So you're taking the time even on a good day. And a good day, like knee feels normal.
Yeah.
Very stable. Does it feel unstable doing the step ups? Even with that hyper awareness on a good day.
No.
Okay. That's pretty badass. So like, I would argue, Kyle, and Kyle, you may or may not agree with me, that you have a remarkable advantage when it comes to developing any type of skill set, because forcing yourself to be aware of what mechanism of contraction is occurring for a movement, that's going to translate throughout your whole body, and you're going to be forced to be less conscious of it compared to the masses.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And it just goes to show that Tristan's an athlete as well.
Yeah.
Like, and that's something that just comes intuitively to athletes. It's like, what is firing, what is moving, and then consciously thinking about those things. Like, I think that's actually one big separator between, like, just to use CrossFit as an example, like, open to quarterfinals and quarterfinals to semifinals is the ability to understand your body and like what's moving, what's firing, etc.
That's awesome. It's badass that like someone as young as yourself, who like, not just in age but in the sport. How long have you been doing CrossFit? Like actually being a training athlete, a hard athlete. You would identify yourself as an athlete, not as a weekend warrior.
Not as a one-a-week CrossFit day.
Yeah.
This is probably going on starting year 4.
So
like
year 4
to compete.
Yeah, year 4, and you've had a torn ACL for your first year. So like, could argue that you weren't really training to be a CrossFit athlete at that standpoint, just because of the injury. Yeah. So like that makes you a 2-year-old in the sport, and you've been training yourself.
Well, I've been doing CrossFit for probably like, I think this is going on year 5.
Okay, so
like competing, like that was like one class here, one class there. Like trying to compete, this is probably going on year 4.
All right, so I would, I would personally argue that with the information, that you are a high-level training athlete for 2 years. Just because starting at 5 years ago, first year, boo-boo, and now you trained yourself. What did you follow? Who was your coach before Kyle and Griffin?
I was on Mayhem for a while.
Individually or following their
Just the
blanket
general program, and then before that, it was I had a workout partner I used to work out with every day, and I was do the class. And
So
then
you're
walk
self-taught.
in. Yeah.
You're self-taught. Yeah, that's pretty fucking phenomenal. You're wired different, dog. Now, I'm grilling you with all the questions and whatnot because I want everyone to be aware that this is the type of process that needs to occur.
Well, depending on like how far you want to go in the sport.
Of course, yeah.
Like, I think that like Tristan wants to go compete in games, right? And this is the process that's needed, and the diligency and like the dedication, the focus, etc. That needs to happen, especially from a young age, if you want to accomplish that.
Fuck yeah.
And like Tristan does a great job of that, and he's going out and seeking the things that he needs in order to accomplish that goal. And that, I think, is a big thing that some people miss out on. Self-discipline. Yeah, sure. It exists. You just have to find it.
So, go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just gonna finish out. Like, I think one thing a lot of people do is they like hire a coach or they follow a program or whatever, and then they just start to slack off because they're like, "Oh, I have a coach; they'll get me there," or "I'm following this program; they'll
100%.
get me there," or "This program will get me there." And it's like, no, it's like you have to get yourself there. You have to go and like literally go and take. I think Jocko has something in his book about it, but you have to go and take the things that you want to accomplish. And like it's not. It's a process, and it's a bigger picture than that. And I think Tristan understands that from a young age, which is super helpful to being
super
great
helpful
at the
and
sport.
fucking amazing. On what he said, just 1 second, like I fit that bill with what you just said. Oh, my coach will get me there. I thought I was great. I thought I was going to make regionals at 296 pounds, stringing together 3 ring muscle ups.
Could have happened in 2012.
Yeah, this was 2016.
Could not have
15.
happened in 2016.
No.
15.
No, I agree. Couldn't do pistols either. And I thought I was good.
Still could have happened. Sans pistols.
Huh? I didn't hear what you said.
It could have happened sans pistols.
Sans pistols?
Yeah, not being able to do pistols.
Gotcha. My fault. So, after step-ups, still on a good day, now the question grilling is over. What's next, like, after your step-ups?
That's good day. That's
pretty much it?
Pretty much it. Then I'll just specific warm-up for whatever workout or lifting I'm doing.
Man, being young is awesome.
Huh?
Being young is so awesome.
So this is with no BPC, no TRT, no trend. I'm making jokes. So
take us through a bad day then.
Yeah.
So like a good day is a obvious. This is what 22-year-olds do. They go into the gym. They sit on a bike for 3 minutes. They do a couple air squats. Then you start lifting. Right.
Yeah.
Take us through.
I do a little more like workout specific. Take us through like what a bad day is though. So bad day is normally the same stuff, and then if I have to stretch a little more, do maybe a couple more rounds of the air squats.
What stretches?
Like the quad stretch my hamstring. The quad stretch. Sometimes I will hold a squat for a couple minutes, or the lay down with your feet on the wall, in a squat.
Oh, I see.
With straight legs straight up in the air together, and then the pigeon. I'll do that some, and then after that, normally depending on how it feels, I'll either do the hip walks with a band, the sideways, forward, backwards.
Still thinking about the contractions, like what's firing?
Yeah. Just trying to warm my hips up all the way down to the knee, the IT band, and all of that. And then after that, I normally try to do like some leg swings just to loosen it up a little more, and then I'll go into the workout.
I hear a lot of hip opening stuff.
I do that with the band too, strengthening. he told me when I did have my surgery, that's could be one of the main reasons. And he said if you just strengthen the small muscles around it, it just will help it be more stable even without the surgery.
Sounds like you had a pretty good surgeon that was like informing you what to do afterwards pretty well too.
And this is all without, and he did not really sound like to me in this last one. They said, yes, surgery will essentially be necessary, but it's not necessary now.
He said he said some people it's ACL. He said it just doesn't stick. He said some people it's like that. Some people it sticks. He said if you want to go to college to play, you can't play football at a college level with a torn ACL. So he was like, you need to have surgery. But if you're not going to college, I don't see a reason why you would need to have surgery. Just based off of, because it doesn't bother me unless I like use it a lot or something like that.
Do you take any pain meds for it? They prescribe you that shit?
Mm-hmm.
Good. I was just curious.
Are you talking about opioids?
Nope.
Just fentanyl.
Talking about Motrin.
Talking about PM.
I was asking that because, like, the thoughts of many doctors just being told to like push the medication, not push like homeostasis type of deal.
The first surgery I took medicine and it like messed up my stomach, and so the second surgery I didn't take any of the pain medicines.
Smart.
I took some ibuprofen here and there, but that was it.
That's smart.
Yeah. Fuck those.
do agree.
So what are your goals for this year then?
Semifinals.
Yeah.
Semifinals. I would like to make
And grid.
Yes. And I'd like to make some of the
Today.
That's not true.
Oh, we've been talking about it.
Oh, okay.
Like as of September, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
August, September, yeah.
I'd like to make some of the bigger competitions too.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
And that's like not specifically this season, but next year.
Yes, this coming season.
Yeah. So who's on your team this year?
Devin,
Nice.
Sydney,
Yep.
Danielle.
Yep. This team literally just formed like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So.
That's gonna be a fun team to watch, honestly. With
your guys' dynamic is gonna be pretty.
it's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be fucking fantastic to watch. So the all of that, by the way, and to those listening, Tristan, you take a high level awareness approach to specifically what's firing. I hit on that a lot because people just go. They don't take the time to focus on. If I stand up only using my hamstrings and butt, and I'm going to try not to activate my quad, they can enhance firing rate, whatever's appropriate, and be not just more efficient with movement, but be healthier, quote unquote, healthier, to protect their joint, as opposed to me just go now. Then they can balance out. I would argue, have you found a way to balance anterior and posterior training then? When you're doing, back in the day when you were a high schooler, a year ago, were you, as a joke, did you find yourself more quad dominant squatting, or did you even have any idea?
I didn't have any idea.
Yeah, not a fucking clue. But now, you can identify it entirely, right? Which one is more quad dominant, which one's more posterior dominant, etc. More people need to be aware of that.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that.
The biggest thing about that is because now it can push them to be able to fucking train with a major ligament tear.
Yeah. I mean, I think, what is it, the knees over toes guy talked about, him having, several meniscus tears or something like that, and now he's, able to dunk over, he's still dunking basketball in his 40s or something like that. And if you look at all his stuff, it's literally predominantly strengthen the posterior chain, lengthen the anterior chain is pretty much all it revolves around.
So how I want to hit on, I tore my MCL, not even a full tear. Earlier this summer, right? I was walking around like a gimpy little piece of shit.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I'm a bitch. I'm learning how to not be one. That's why I constantly wear the bracelet. Shout out Griff. RIP. Flu. How can people, and why should people, in this light of like athleticism, like it didn't have to be like trying to train to be a games athlete or whatever. You could train to be a better, like, I want to carry my kid up the stairs type of person.
Yeah.
What approach is there to like develop that mindset? And this is a question essentially for both of you, because obviously I was missing it, right? I weeble wobbled like a swimmer. Okay, didn't train leg day. Swimmers are some of the softest people I've ever worked with when it came to mentality. I'm being real. Sorry, swimmers, but that don't mean that's an insult. That's speaking as one, because I was one, a bitch. So now, how and why can they still train with that torn shit?
You want to take it?
I mean, you're the guest, and I've been talking the most.
So like, when you heard the surgeon say like you don't need it, and unless you're going to play football in college, were you just like, all right, well, I don't want to go through another 9 months of therapy again, and that's kind of like what made you decide to not get it, or
really at that point, like I said, I found CrossFit and got into CrossFit, so that helped a lot. Making my decision, like, I'm not going to go to college to play. I'm just going to basically, I guess, my college sport will be CrossFit.
Yeah.
And so, and there's always, I didn't want to have a third surgery and then turn around and tear it again a fourth time.
Right.
To me, that would have been a waste. I was honestly, too, just tired of football. At that point. It just 9 months the first time rehab, 9 months the second time rehab, and then I didn't want to have a third one, and then it wasn't bothering me or inhibiting me from doing CrossFit. So I was like, I'm just gonna not go play football. I'm just gonna do CrossFit.
So like, what allows you to kind of like live with, or like, what has allowed you to develop the mindset of like, okay, I know it's torn, but it's okay, and now I know that if I experience pain, I'll be fine if I do like these things. Like, what do you think helped kind of like develop that mindset? Because I mean, there's a lot of people out there who like would know that their ACL is torn, and as soon as they feel any sort of like little tweak or anything like that, shut it down for the day.
I do have those days where it's harder than others. Like